Welcome to the Bounce Media Network. I am your host, the one and only MC, Mr. J Ski, coming to you live and direct. WNBPA. WNBPA. Lies, 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 lies. Players, you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, ran amok. You've been had. Oh, you've been had. We have an announcement, or a letter, if you will, coming from two of the members of the WNBPA Association organization. One from Breanna Stewart and Kelsey Plum. Says here from Alexa Philippou and Don Van Nada. The WNBPA Executive Committee members, Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart, wrote a 3-page letter Monday to the Players Union Executive Director Terry Jackson, expressing serious concerns about how the PA is handling the current negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement, including the lack of inadequate or adequate player involvement in the process. In the private communication, which was obtained Tuesday by ESPN, Plum, the first vice president of the union, and Stewart, a vice president. How many vice presidents do they have? We'll look into that. So Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart, 2 vice presidents, they requested a change dynamic between our PA administrators and the players, and said, we do not feel like we have an adequate seat at the table in these negotiations. So if 2 members of the WNBPA feel like they don't have a seat or say-so at the table, who is doing the negotiations? Who's actually pulling the strings? Is it NECA? Is it Terry Jackson, Terry Carmichael Jackson? Who is it? The union held a call with its players Tuesday evening, according to sources, to address the issues raised by Stewart and Plum, as well as the results of a Players Association survey sent in recent days, polling players on their thoughts toward the league's latest CBA proposal. The union declined to comment when reached by ESPN. They declined to comment, didn't want to talk about it. All right, they're releasing all this stuff on social media, but when a semi-reputable or media outlet reaches out to them, they don't have a comment. Jackson shared the letter with the executive committee earlier Tuesday. Sources said it is unclear whether the rest of the 7-player executive committee agrees with Plum and Stewart's sentiments on WNBPA leadership, or whether they have informed before the letter was sent. Sources have indicated that some members are content with the union's handling of the negotiations. Some members, some out of how many? The letter was sent nearly a week ago, before the March 10th date the league gave the WNBPA last month to try to complete a term sheet for a new CBA. The 2026 regular season is scheduled to begin on May 8th, but before then, the league must hold a college draft currently scheduled for April 13th, a 2-team expansion draft, and free agency for more than 100 players. We went over this in a previous video. All right. The letter starts with Plum and Stewart expressing immense gratitude for Jackson's leadership of the Players Association over the past decade and the results she has garnered in that span, adding they believe she wants what's best for the players. I have a little speculation to believe that some of these people, even from the top to the middle, have their own agendas. I don't know what Miss Jackson's, I don't know what Miss Jackson's, her agenda is, if it's hidden or not, but something is awry here. Something's amiss. Something's not right. All right, the letter went on to say, but we are frustrated that we have not made more progress as we near the March 10th deadline, Stewart and Plum continue, and we believe this is a result of a breakdown in communication between you and the executive committee and players more broadly. The WNBPA opted out of the previous CBA nearly 17 months ago in October 2024, and negotiations have ramped up over the past 8 months. They have been negotiating this CBA for over a year and a half, and we're literally at the dance, and they're not accepting the corsage. I don't know if I can come up with a better analogy than that. All right. You're at the dance. You're there. You refuse to walk in. Okay. Your date is standing at the door and you won't come up the stairs. Stewart and Plum say that they have been privy to the details of these negotiations for less than 2 months, having first seen a proposal in January, and that they've repeatedly, mind you, have asked for information from the Player Association staff but have yet to receive it. How can two vice presidents ask for information and they don't receive it? Or what, are they vice president in name only? They don't really have any say-so in the ongoings of the PA? Is it a dictatorship with NECA at the top, or with Terry, one of the two, or are they in cahoots together? I don't know what's going on here. Despite a year and a half of negotiations, we have not been meaningfully engaged, the letter said. The examples of requested information include a detailed breakdown of the WNBA's expenses and revenue. They want information of the breakdown from the league detailing their expenses and the revenues. They want a profit and loss statement, basically, from the forget what you call it in business. A prospectus? No, not a prospectus. Let's just go with profit and loss. All right. To the best of our understanding, a comparative analysis between potential losses players would have faced in a delayed or strike-shortened season versus the potential gains achieved in a new CBA earned through continued negotiations. A clear description of how rookie salaries will be structured and how they scale during a rookie contract. Information on distributions from one-team partners and a clear articulation of the executive committee's roles and responsibilities. I think there needs to be a change in leadership. Okay, this is not faring out well. As we understand it, the executive committee's role is to help shape the overall goals and priorities of the CBA and to serve as a bridge between your negotiating team and the broader membership, ultimately helping to secure player approval of any deal. All right. Without access to the information requested above, the executive committee cannot fulfill this role, and players cannot be expected to engage meaningfully in a process they have largely been excluded from. Stewart and Plum requested a meeting of the executive committee within 24 hours to discuss the requested information, which turned into the all-player meeting. All right, so they had an all-player meeting on Zoom, most likely, and I don't know how you're going to have an all-player meeting with 150 players, and that's literally that's an all-day meeting. You know, you have many people jumping in. I've been on Zoom calls, with 20 to 30 people, and I know what that's like. So I can imagine what it's like for 100 to 150 people, who, depending on who's available, to be jumping in, chiming in, and you'll have some people that won't say anything. They'll just be there present. And then you'll have many people, even if 50% of them want to speak, that's going to be an unproductive meeting. It's not going to go anywhere. They're basically having the meeting to say that they had the meeting, and the people that want to speak won't get a turn to speak. At least that's my thoughts on it. When we and our players have attempted to express concerns about negotiations, we have been made to feel as though we are acting against the interests of the PA. How dare you question what is going on here? What are you thinking? Many other players across the league feel these same frustrations and have expressed them to us. I wonder how many. What's the number? What's the percentage on that? That's what we need to know. But feel afraid or unable to speak out. Plum and Stewart said that this dynamic between union administrators and players has begun to create unnecessary divisions at a time in which a united front and informed player body are essential to achieve maximum leverage. They're scared. People are scared to speak. The bullies are at the top, just like in the game. It's like you have the bullies on the court, and then you have the meek and the mild, the mice that, just kind of just go along with whatever the bullies are doing. ESPN previously reported that there have been a strong debate within the executive committee in recent months over how to proceed in negotiations, with a split over willingness to hold out or to take a deal more in line with the league's latest proposal. In a player call last week, a source told ESPN over half of player leadership reaffirmed its desire to keep a strike on the table. The WNBPA player body authorized the executive committee in December to call a strike when necessary. On Monday, before the unrivaled semifinals, Plum told reporters that while the union should continue to negotiate a new CBA, she believes the offer the WNBPA has received from the WNBA so far reflects a significant win. It is a win, and that's the problem there. The executives in the player association, they don't know when to accept a win or when to call a win a win. This is a win. They are receiving the sun, the moon, and the stars and the heavens above in this new CBA, and they keep turning it down, and they're harking. They won't get off of this gross revenue thing. All right, something that they're not going to get, and it's been, and the league has been very adamant about it. They're just pretending as if, la 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 la, I can't hear you. They're pretending as if they don't hear the owners telling them that they're not going to get that WNBA. I mean that they're not going to get that gross revenue in the WNBA. All right, so this is a serious issue. I know when you in business, when you are you got the thing going on with the Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Netflix or whatever, and your board, your CEO and the board, they're supposed to accept the best offer on the table, and if they keep turning that offer down, they have a responsibility to their shareholders to be truthful and forthcoming about what the deal is. They can't just keep turning something down and saying, you know what, we don't want this, we don't want this. At some point, your leadership is going to come into question, and you may be removed. You may be removed, and that seems to be what needs to be the case here. All right, on Monday, before the unrivaled semifinals, Plum told reporters that while the union should continue to negotiate a new CBA, she believes the offer basically reflects a significant win with this revenue sharing component, and that a strike would be the worst thing for both sides. So even Plum Dog, she's saying, or she's expressing that, if they strike, that's it. That's the nuclear option, and that's going to be it for the league, and many people don't want that to happen. Stewart later said she agreed with her. So Breanna Stewart, is a she's a big ticket item in the W. All right, she gets a lot of respect. She has a lot of clout behind her name. Now she's an older player. She's definitely a vet, but she's still Breanna Stewart. Okay. The two echoed those beliefs in the letter, saying that they are concerned about the impact that a standoff or a work stoppage would have on the overall financial health of the league, and believe it is time to begin negotiating off the league's proposals when it comes to revenue sharing. Both players were clear in Monday's media availability that more negotiation is needed. The players said in the letter that they'd like to see the league examine its expenses and identify meaningful ways to reduce the amount that those expenses are carried by players at both the team and especially league level. All right. Other priorities they list include agreeing to a cap that, in expanding with revenue, allows for sustainable roster construction where max players do not have to take cuts to ensure a robust middle class. All right, so I knew this was going to come up. Yeah, people that are expected or will be requesting / demanding a max salary, they don't want to basically be offered a max and then be expected to receive a lower than max just so they can keep their team intact or what have you. They don't want to take a pay cut in order for the smaller players, the middle of the road players and the low end players to stay on the team. So you have like some of these super teams like the Minnesota Lynx, the the Aces, Las Vegas Aces, and even I mean, we don't. Indiana doesn't have a super team, but we definitely have some people we want to keep. And at the 5.65 salary cap, I think that's in the latest proposal. They want that up. They want that up because they want to try to keep their teams intact, and they basically want to have these super teams. You know, the league, I think, would rather spread out some of that talent across the league because you can't have. I mean, watching the games last season, you know, some of these teams like, you know, this Connecticut and Dallas, you know, it was hard watching those games. You know, they were at the end, and I know somebody's always got to be at the bottom when there's a hierarchy amongst teams in any sports organization. You know, you're gonna have the bottom teams, but they can't be so bad. You know, and that was pretty rampant in the W last season and the season before that. All right, we need to start being pragmatic in these negotiations and in how decisions are being made, the letter read. Last week, nearly a dozen player agents sent a letter to Jackson expressing our collective preference for transparency and coordinated communication moving forward in negotiations and for the ability to review the league's current proposal. Okay, so let's take a look. That's pretty much the end of Plum and Stewart's letter. I want to take a look at the player association. Let's see. Okay, so we got Terry Carmichael Jackson is the director. Okay, then we got Nneka Ogwumike as the president, Kelsey Plum as the first vice president, Elizabeth Williams, who we don't really hear much from her. She's the secretary. Brianna Turner, I think we hear too much from her. All right, she's the treasurer. Alicia Clark is, she probably has 1 year left in her. You know, I like Alicia Clark. I think she's good for to be on a team as far as like having that vet presence. I think she was good on the Aces, but it's more than other than leadership and mentorship. She's not really bringing a lot to a team, and she may find herself basically out. I don't know if you have to. I don't know how these things shake out with these organizations, the player associations, but do you have to be actively in the W in order to be in the WNBPA on the player a representative or on the board or anything like that? I'm not sure about that, but yeah, Alicia Clark, she may be retiring. Okay, so she's probably a holdout. She probably wants to strike, or she's trying to hold out. They need to stop this gross revenue stuff. That's not going to happen. So if it's either gross revenue or nothing, then it's it. It's over. It's a wrap. All right. Nafisa Collier, haven't heard much from her in a while. You know, after she's been going after Kathy, she's been ghost. Okay. I thought we would probably hear a lot more from her once on Rivals started and then with the playoffs, but she's actually been MIA. We haven't heard anything from her. Brianna Stewart, I think she's more on the I want a season and you guys are asking for too much, you're being too greedy, and she's a veteran player. Okay? So I don't know what it is, but we're not going to get into the team reps or anything like that, but this is the main leadership, all right, from the top down. And yeah, we gotta they're gonna have to have a change in their leadership, okay, in order to move things forward. All right, so immediately, not even within 24 hours after Plum and Brianna Stewart sent in their letter, we get a letter from the committee itself, and yeah, they released their letter. And in this statement from the WNBA Executive Committee, they say that in every CBA negotiation, the goal of the league and teams is to divide the players. These negotiations are no different. We remain united and focused on delivering a transformational CBA for all of its members of the union, and are committed to negotiating for as long as it takes. Our union's nearly unanimous vote in December to authorize us to call a strike if and when necessary was not taken lightly. It was made with complete faith and trust in ourselves and our negotiating committee led by Executive Director Terry Carmichael Jackson and President Nneka Ogwumike. to represent all players as we work to build a W that truly puts players first. Nothing has changed that decision, and the results of our recent player survey reaffirmed that the current league proposal is not worth taking. Despite our differences and tough moments, we must make crystal clear that we are focused, we are resolute, and we are all together. We want to play basketball in 2026. We want to be in front of our fans playing the game that we love. We will not stop fighting. There is no WNBA without the players. Okay? There's no WNBA without the fans. All right? Me being one of them. Okay? If you go on strike, this is going to be just like the late '90s season in the for baseball. Okay, yeah, a strike will ruin a league that's barely just starting to find its footing. Okay, if they do that, it's pretty much over. You can't go on strike, forego a season, and then come back in 2027 and say, okay, we're back. Nobody's going to be there. Nobody's going to be there. Okay? So it's, I don't know if this is the if and to be all, but yeah, and this is signed by, the committee, but yeah, this is not a good look. It's not a good look at all. So yeah, I don't know what needs to happen, but they're not being very transparent. I don't trust anything that they say. Like I stated in the beginning of the video, lies, lies, lies. They're not coming out with all the information that needs to come out, and yeah, this is just this. It's not a good look. So, but that's all we're going to touch bases on. I know there's going to be some more news coming out. I have another video that I'm working on. So yeah, if you haven't already done so, please like the video, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and yeah, we'll see you soon.